Okay, so let's go with fluency. Now, fluency, if your word form area, the area behind your ear that fires with kids who don't have reading problems, or fires with kids, some who have reading problems but haven't been taught properly, so it's not being used. If the word form area fires, it's now more a matter of working reliable techniques such as the repeated readings, timing them for a minute, giving them four tries to beat their score by 20 words per minute. So if they're at 80, you try to get 100. You keep trying to improve and beat the clock, where you have a time that they read a paragraph, you keep trying to beat your time. Those are all helpful because they're word form, as long as you're following a series or books that are developmental and the child has good sight word and it can read. Those systems can work. But for the rest of us, the ones that we work with, that is a waste of time if that's the sole source that we're doing. What we got to do is we have to start at the sound level. So at the sound level, I'll show you my board. It's a little mixed up. I was working with somebody today with it. Okay. Now, in my program, we first say the sounds like rrr, and what we're working on when we say it is correcting any problems they have. So when we're doing orally, it's kind of like reteaching. A lot of kids have trouble with R, L, X, and Y. That's their number one problems. So I'll often be going rrr, and notice I'm puckered, rrr, and they'll go rrr, and then I'll go ks, and then I'll go yeah, and I'll go ol, and I'll go back to rrr and ks, and maybe they have a but, I'll go to but, and I'll go ba, and then I'll hit their problem sounds here, or any new spellings. So if I taught hungry rule and I go ch, I want to make sure they're doing the spellings. So my oral work is to either reteach things and make sure they've got that squared away and introduce the new spellings. Whereas my pointing work is rapid sounds. So I'm not going great far out. That's wonderful. Now the next one is I'm going g, ul, qu, I'm telling the kid we're going to move, because that's your first step of fluency. The sounds need to be fluent, because if they're going, okay, let me think. They're never not going to be fluent. So step one, fluent sounds. Okay. Step two, fluid syllables. I actually, in my book, have diagnostic syllables for this purpose. Okay. This is in the lessons book. So today I worked with a kid that we're up through diphthongs and walkers. So I reviewed open, close, silent E here, and I timed them. And he basically did it in this list in 13 seconds with no errors. And went quite, nade, thay, chite, threft, pro, stew, wheems, shetch, fike. That's not where I want to be. I want him to get him less than 10. Now he did it less than 10 with some errors. So, but he's right, getting close. It's under 10 seconds is what we want. I then went to the walkers because he's at 13, and I timed him here. Shaft, chief, plow, thost, pew, sheem, woj, taper, queep, pace. It took him 17 seconds with an error, I believe. So we're going to come back to that. My next lesson with him, I'm going to do timed walkers and timed diphthongs. But I'm trying to get that 10 seconds. So notice we have fast sounds, fast syllables. Now we're getting there, okay? Then the next is fast syllabication. So if diphthongs, notice I have to go blauschoi, skoiftau, spoo, spoo, kloisaw. I now have to quickly read 2-syllable nonsense words. Now, if I can do fast sounds, fast syllables, fast blending, what that means is when I run into words I don't know, I can quickly break them down. I can sound out words right off the spot by looking at them. I don't have to wait. Okay. Keep in mind, many of my kids' word form areas are not firing well. That means, like this kid today, had trouble with arrangement. And when he saw it again, he also had problems with it. Arrangement. So that word form area, I was interesting because this was one of the first really rough words he had trouble with, and he had trouble remembering. So those things are in concert while I'm teaching phonics. So while I'm teaching phonics, I'm doing speed of sounds. I'm trying speed of syllables. Once I teach 2-syllable words, speed of that. Now daily, the next thing, and the single most important, where none of this will work if you don't have it, is a systematic phonetic series, which trains them to use these skills with real words in a sequential fashion, so that they're picking up the language patterns, sentence patterns in a sequential way and prediction. And they're learning how to read fluently with, if they're at 1-syllable words, with 1-syllable words. Then they're learning to read fluently with 2-syllable words like velvet and cabin. Then they're learning to read fluently with our family words like paper and doctor. So they're working fluency at a level that they're at, which means if I'm at 1-syllable and they're at 30 words a minute, I might get to 60 or 70. But if I don't have a sequential book, I may be at 40 and there's no rhyme or reason why I should improve, because nothing's sequential. It's just whatever the kid runs into. If he knows it, he knows it. If he doesn't, he doesn't. Again, if your word form area is firing, that can work. And that's why the repeated reading that the National Reading Conference in '98 said repeated reading, or 100 studies verified that. Well, it verifies that if the kid has a word form area. But if not, it must be in concert with a developmental book so that he is improving each book as he goes. So example is, the child I'm working with actually has got somewhat his word form area and started out 20 sessions, probably 15 sessions to 20. He was reading, tripped up at, oh, he's at 2.5, reading 110 words a minute, which was great. 6th grader, okay? Today he read 100, no, it was 112 words. Today he read 110 words a minute. Light in the Dark Ages, which was written at 7th grade, first month, with 2 errors. So he was reading a 2nd grade book at 112. He's now reading a 7th grade book at 110. That means his fluency has grown, continued to move as grade levels been pushed. That's crucial.